Today on the Game Marks podcast, we start year 2 with a sequel to one of our favorite games from year 1, Def Jam Fight for New York. Will we play this EA Games AKI hip-hop favorite forever? Woo! Or future endeavor?
You're fired!
Plug in and put on those nostalgia goggles because year 2 of the Game Marks podcast starts now.
And now, the Game Marks!
Welcome to the Game Marks podcast. My name is George Feast.
And I'm the man they call Johnny Clash, and this week we are playing Def Jam Fight for New York, one of my favorites.
And as always, we'd love to hear from you guys, so please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts and make sure to subscribe and rate this podcast wherever you choose to listen and join the conversation on all forms of social media at Game Marks Pod. John, I kind of messed up the whole welcome to the Game Marks podcast. My name is George Feast because I kind of wanted it to be welcome to the Game Marks podcast. My name is George Feast and I'm currently your reigning, defending year 1 Clash at the Feast champion. And then I just wanted you to kind of be and I'm Johnny Clash. But I messed it up. But hey, year 2 begins now, bud. How are you?
I think I'm going to go. I don't know.
All right, well, that's going to do it for us this week on the Game Marks podcast.
Is Phil Cardigan around or Nick Stab you could do this with? I don't know.
I think Phil's tending to his wife, and I think Nick is helping Phil tend to his wife. I don't know. It's a weird thing. It was a weird text message thread that we were on. I couldn't follow it.
Anyway, last week we played one of the greatest wrestling games to ever exist, WCW NWO Revenge. How you feeling? How you feeling about it?
You know, I was thinking back, and I might have to change my rating. I think I might have to future endeavor this game. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Literally one of the greatest games ever made. We'll play it forever. Yeah, how about you? How you feeling?
Well, I mean, it kind of sets the tone for today's game because the whole AKI, just how, the way that they would make their wrestling games was all the same throughout. We saw it in Def Jam's Vendetta when we played that last year. And now here we are again with another Def Jam game by EA, and they also are under the AKI label. So we're going to see some similarities. We're also going to see how they kind of changed it to more of a fighting game rather than a wrestling game. But there are still the tones of the old wrestling games in there. So we will deep dive and we will see.
Yeah. And hey, just want to let you guys know that we have a free giveaway for Johnny Clash's own version of Steel Cage Challenge. Now, all you have to do to be entered in that contest is leave a review on Apple Podcast or wherever you choose to listen. Take a screenshot of that review and send it to us on our Twitter page at GameMarksPod. And, maybe after this contest ends, we may be talking about a new contest that's coming up later. Maybe in tandem with that. We'll get into that a little bit later. But, what else we got going on, John?
Well, as we saw last week, we put our exclusive t-shirt and print available on GameMarksPod.com. You can check that out right there. There's a link that says merch, or you could go on GameMarksPod.com/shop. That'll take you right to it. We have a t-shirt, we have a print, we have masks, because that's the world we're living in now. There's 2 different versions of the masks. They're better than the ones we sold a couple months ago. And you can get some stickers, and our old t-shirts are on there as well. Plus, we still have a pro wrestling tee store, but the exclusive 1-year shirt and print are not going to last forever, so go get them while you can. There's a nice little checklist on the print where you can mark if you like the game that we played. Maybe we disagreed, maybe you agree with one of us. So,
and we talked last week about all the things that we want to, move forward with and get going. And obviously, behind the scenes, some wheels are in motion and things are already starting to happen for some of the exciting new things for you too. But, we saw the feedback from last week's episode. We saw, how all the congratulatory messages that we got, all the clips that we were able to include for last week's episode. I wanted to know, just a quick little follow-up from last week. Did anything change? Did listening or seeing any of the feedback maybe inspire you to be like, you know what? I had this great idea of something else I wanted to do this year.
No, I definitely agree, George. I think this year is going to be bigger and better. One thing I really want to do, and obviously we can't do it right now in the state of the world, is hold kind of like a retro gaming tournament. Find a location, have a few people sign up, have a nice cash prize, maybe a trophy, maybe a belt, maybe play like No Mercy or something like that. I think that's kind of like one of my goals for when the world reopens. We could have something like that, have people come from near, far, wherever you are, and my heart will go on.
Wow, okay, sorry, there's a lot to unpack there. So, you're apparently Celine Dion now. This is Titanic, and we're just giving away belts?
I said we'll see. We'll see. Could be a trophy.
We're just giving away belts? I didn't even get mine yet, and you're just giving away another. All right, I see how it is.
Maybe I'll give yours away.
Oh, I'm hurt. All right, but that's enough catch-up, follow-up, talking about all the amazing things we're doing this year. I think it is time for some gaming news. Johnny, what do you got for us this week?
Are you looking to get a better grip on life? How about your video games? Well, VGF Gamers are the largest silicone gaming brand in the USA. They have a variety of different and unique skins for the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One controllers and consoles. Check out their products at vgfgamers.com and use code GameMarks to receive 15% off your order at checkout. That's GAMEMARKS at checkout. VGF Gamers. Better grip, better style.
Get your flaming pickaxes out. Following the announcement that Fortnite has been removed from the Google Play Store, Epic Games has announced that they will be pursuing legal action against Google. This news should come as little surprise as Epic Games announced a lawsuit against Apple for delisting the game in the App Store last week. The game was removed from both digital storefronts after a new Fortnite update allows users to make in-app purchases without going through Apple or Google. These prices were also lower amounts than the ones that went through the App Store and the Play Store. This is in violation of the rules for both, prompting the ban. A new game based on AMC's The Walking Dead now has a release date with The Walking Dead Onslaught, scheduled to come to PlayStation VR, Oculus, and Stream VR devices on September 29th. The new virtual reality game is a VR-only title, so you'll need a VR setup if you want to play. This VR perspective will put players right up close with the zombies the walkers they'll encounter with a new gameplay trailer released alongside the release date, showing off more of what the experience will look like. There will be visceral combat experience like impaling enemies, creating realistic wounds when you hit them, and a physics system in place that respond to players' movements as they grapple and strike enemies. You can also grab the zombies themselves and throw them around or restrain them for a time to line up your attack better. The release date of Madden NFL 21 is fast approaching, and football and video game fans alike have been eager to see what the new game will bring. One of the biggest and most rumored about additions to the game has been The Yard, a new gameplay mode that will provide a completely different kind of virtual experience. Last week, EA officially confirmed that the game mode would be arriving in Madden 21, and now we have an indication of what it will entail. The Yard takes many of the staples of a typical Madden game into new territory, a 6-on-6 Iron Man football game, as opposed to the traditional rules and regulations of a 12v12. In order to properly capture the energy of those smaller games, the game field has been shortened to 80 yards by 40 yards, with first downs being awarded after the player passes a 20-yard marker, much like a flag football game. And that's all the gaming news we have this week. Check back next week.
All right, now, this whole Fortnite, Epic Games, Apple, Google thing is very interesting. I'm very curious to see how this is going to play out for everyone involved. But there is a silver lining if you are still someone who plays Fortnite and does play it on your Android device. There's a workaround that was recently found out that you can still install the game through the Epic website, and you just can't directly download it off of the Google Play Store. So if you are someone who plays it on your Android device, there is a little sliver of hope. Sorry, Apple.
Yeah, what's funny is one of our first gaming news is back last year. I remember I was talking about how much of like a Fortnite fan I was. I don't think I've touched the game since, but anyway,
It's so weird how much that's changed in a year.
Yeah, that game's trash. Sorry, but honestly, what a big dick move by Epic Games to just be like, "Hey, we're putting our own pay system in, and it's going to be less than you." Sorry, Apple. Sorry, Google. The two biggest companies in the world. Epic was like, "Screw you." But they have Marshmallow playing in their courtyard, so they can do whatever they want.
Yeah, I mean, they have. I don't think people, whether or not you like the game, you can't deny its impact and its audience. It's such a big game still. Like it's some kind of strange, wild juggernaut.
It's so weird. It's such like a cult, I guess. I don't know. But this Walking Dead game is intriguing me because I was a fan of the Walking Dead Survival Instinct for Xbox 360. It was one of those shorter games that was only maybe like $20 at the time, not the like full price of 60. You're Daryl Dixon. You go through like different areas and you kind of clear them of walkers. You're trying to get from point A to point B. I did give up halfway through because there was this one map where you have to go to a gas station and fill up a gas tank before the walkers come get you. But it's literally swarms of walkers coming after you, and you're trying to fill up this gas tank and like little, okay, oh my god, you run around, try to fill a little bit. It was so frustrating, but I gave up on that. But it was made by Activision, so it kind of had like the Call of Duty physics, so it wasn't half bad. But maybe this VR one would be kind of cool. I could definitely see that that being a good game, but maybe like a couple of years ago when The Walking Dead was hot. I don't know. Maybe
I didn't
jump
know
a
that
shark
I
in the
want
game.
this, but from now on, I just want the Johnny Clash explanation of levels and just like your experience where you're just like, and then you go and you do this thing, and you're like, oh no, oh my god,
If you played it though, you would understand what I mean. All right, Georgie, what do you say now we head on over to the question of the week?
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Johnny Clash, and I'm here to tell you that the Game Marks podcast have their own pro wrestling tee store. Brace yourself, because the Game Marks podcast are on ProWrestlingTees.com with 4 brand new designs that are guaranteed to be the next big thing. So head on over to ProWrestlingTees.com/GameMarksPod today and play it forever. Marks.
All right, so the question of the week is a weekly segment. We go back and forth, ask each other a question, and then we like to propose the question to all of you, and you let us know your answers on all forms of social media at GameMarksPod. Johnny's question was, who would we both like to have most on the podcast? And my question was, your favorite wrestling book. Now, interesting answers for both questions. Too many to actually go through, but, a lot of people agreed with your book choice. A lot of people agreed with my book choice. Some people, because you named 3 or 4 books. I think I named 2 or 3 books. And then we had other ones that I didn't even know existed that I definitely have to go back and read. So very excited about that. There were some big names that people threw out for guests that they'd like to see on year 2 of the pod. And I'll just say, if we're able to get literally a quarter of those people, I will consider year 2 a massive success.
I'll quit. That'll be it. I'll retire.
Yeah. But this week it is officially my turn to ask the question. So with that, I'm going to start it off with this. John, we've talked about games that you've anticipated the release of. We've talked about games that you were very excited for the announcement of. But I don't think we've ever talked about games that deserve a sequel that have never gotten them.
Oh.
So my question to you is, what game do you love that has or did you love that has never gotten a sequel?
I'm going to have to think about this one.
All right. Well, would you like me to give you my top 2 answers?
Yeah, give me yours first.
Okay. So I really, really love the Portal series. So there was Portal, there was Portal 2, and there's this running joke that Valve does not count to 3 because they never released like official third title. So I would really love to see a Portal 3. Selfishly, the other answer is I would love to have a Force Unleashed 3. And for the record, just going to throw this out there, remasters do not count.
Okay, so I think I honestly originally would have said The Last of Us, but The Last of Us 2 did come out. I was also thinking Force Unleashed, because that was a great series. Now I'm thinking about today's game and how Icon came out, and now how they're kind of teasing that a new one might be dropping. I feel like that would be my answer, because I put a lot into these games. But
I would be lying if I said that that wasn't the inspiration for this question. But I saw this and I'm like, that's a very interesting. I wonder what other games could fit within this.
So a game I really loved back in the day was NBA Ballers. And they went all the way up, I think, to PS3 with Chosen One. And it was okay. I think the original and Phenom were better. But I would like to see that come back. But I don't think it could happen because right now 2K has I don't even know what it's called, the Playground, I think, where it's similar to Ballers. So I don't know if there's like a niche for it, but really cool game that I'd like to see come back. Also,
Playgrounds is a game that I would like to play against you. I feel like that would be a ridiculous thing for us to play.
I'm so bad at NBA. It was free in the App Store a couple weeks ago. I played against my friends. So bad.
Well, as always, we'd like to know what you think of this question, and let us know your answers on all forms of social media at GameMarksPod. Johnny, is it time?
I think it's time. It's hot out. Let's take a plunge.
Year 2, Deep Dive.
Hey guys, Johnny here. While we love talking about video games and wrestling here on the podcast, we wanted to share with you a new offer from our friends at Stitcher. An enormous amount of shows and bonus episodes are available on Stitcher Premium, such as Office Ladies, Comedy Bang Bang, WTF with Mark Aaron, How Did This Get Made, Bitch Sesh, True Crime Garage, Marvel's Wolverine, and plenty more. Right now you could sign up for Stitcher Premium for only $4.99 a month or $34.99 a year using our code GameMarksPodcast. That's all one word. Head on over to Stitcher.com/premium for this amazing deal and a free month. That's Stitcher.com/premium and use code GameMarksPodcast. That's all one word. Game on, Marks.
All right. Def Jam Fight for New York, released September 21st, 2004 for the PS3, the GameCube, and Xbox. Developed by AKI Corporation and EA Canada, published by EA Games. This feels... The controls feel different than the first Def Jam. Am I wrong in saying
right.
that?
The first Def Jam was definitely more of a wrestling game. The arenas were rings, and it was pretty much the same, almost exactly the same as like a No Mercy, where, you know, you get hit, you could duck when you get up and like do the low blow and stuff. Everything was almost identical.
This feels more like a fighter, less of wrestling. Yeah. It's like a fighter with some wrestling moves put in, but still very much with those over the top style finisher moves.
You know what though? Some of the moves are still exactly the same as the AKI games that we're familiar with.
I mean, if it's not broke, don't fix it.
Exactly.
I guess.
I mean, you gave me a Spinebuster, and it was identical to the Rock Spinebuster, like the motion and everything.
And you gave me that the arm wrenching hook kick.
Yep. That
Booker T does, and it was spot on.
Yeah. So another thing to point out is the first Def Jam Vendetta was put out by EA Games Big. Now at this point, EA Games Big just doesn't exist anymore. So this is just straight up EA Games challenge everything. And when you open the game, that's what you hear D-Mob's voice saying, "Challenge everything."
They don't do that anymore, right? They don't do like it's in the game or Big. Like Big's gone. They don't do it's in the game, right?
Yeah, of course you do.
What was it before that? Oh, it's challenge everything, like you just said. I guess I just haven't played an EA game in a while. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I just got off playing. Oh, that sounded weird. I just got off PS4 playing
Full stop. I just got off.
the new UFC 4, so I just literally played a new EA game.
Oh, that's awesome. Now, in this game, you have, I don't remember if this was in the first game or not, but there's multiple fighting styles that you can have. So you can be a street fighter, you could be a kickboxer, a wrestler, or you can do martial arts, you can be like a submission expert or like a technician, which I feel like wasn't in the first game. I mean, I may have to go back and check, but I don't think the fighting style was that in depth. You had people who did those kinds of moves, but it wasn't as, limited to the styles.
No, this is more of like an underground fighter type game. So you do have all of those fighting styles, but at the same time, does it help one way or another? Not really. You're still just button mashing, trying to punch and kick and grapple and throw the guy into the barricade. Which, speaking of, your environment in these games is everything. There's no more wrestling ring. There's no ring ropes, no turnbuckles. You toss them against barriers, cages, flames. One of my favorite things
EA in this case stands for Environmental Assist.
My favorite part is the crowd that circles you, kind of like a John Cena Eddie Guerrero match, and you could throw your opponent into the crowd and they'll throw them back, and that's kind of how you would use like the ropes. So they do come back to you, and if that specific onwatcher is holding a weapon, they will smack you in the head with it. It is no holds barred. It's fans bring the weapons.
But you can also pick up the weapons and use them as well. So
that
it's not, you're not limited to just using the crowd to get your weapons. Now, I feel like I should have gone back and played original Def Jam before coming to this one, because I feel like there were crowds and environments, but it wasn't like this interactive. Like you could do stuff with a crowd, and like there was a crowd. Like I remember when we fought under the bridge, like there's people in a crowd, like there's people outside, but like you're not, getting hit with a hammer or, so I think someone had like a cooking sheet at one point. Like they had weird things.
A wire cutter.
Why? Like why is a cooking sheet there? Like hammer.
Fans bring the weapons. But tossing the opponent against like these barriers, it gives your fighter an opportunity to do even more damage. It's kind of like you push the guy's head into the wall and then you give him like this stomp into the face, right into the barricade. That's usually, that I think was our best way how to end a match, because they're just bigger moves and your finisher sometimes comes early and you don't have to, like you don't use it to win.
And, speaking of finishers, the Blazon Mode, which is just, I don't know if I can make that sound more nerdy white guy than that. That is your, I guess your special mode is the most akin that you would find it in the normal AKI game. And it works exactly how it did in all the other games. The same game that we played last week, the same way it did in the old Def Jam. Grapple, flick the stick, and you're good to go.
That's it.
That sounded way dirtier than I intended it to, but you were just going to roll with it.
All right, so the ways to win. There's a few different match types here. So the typical standard is a knockout or a submission. You could do either, the knockout would be the health bar goes down. Now your health bar kind of regenerates. So you could have the health bar all the way down, but there's like a little area in the back that still exists, and that's going to regenerate. So once you have to get both of those all the way down to get the KO. Now submission's a little harder because you don't do them as often, but say I want to work your arm. I'm going to take your arm, and it's going to give you the option to tap every button, and you'll get out of the arm hold. But I have to keep doing that. I have to do it over and over and over again. So submission matches are a little But why don't we get into the different match types here?
All right, so you have your story mode, your battle mode, which I guess we'll just let it go because it's not. I'm a little hurt that it's not an exhibition mode, but somehow we'll move on. You have your 1-on-1, your 2-on-2, your free-for-all, which is a 3 or 4... which is essentially your battle royale, where it's either a triple threat or a 4-way dance. So you have your cage match, where there's no crowd in for it. You have your cage match, where there is no crowd interference, but the cage itself can be used as a weapon, which is exactly what you would expect from a cage match. And the main venue for this is Club Murder, which, I mean, it's not a better venue name for a cage match, I guess. You have your ring out match, where the wooden barriers lining the ring can eventually be broken and then become weapons in the match. You can be won by throwing the opponent through the gap that you create, or by a typical knockout. The main venue for this is the Dragon House.
Oh, I ate there last night.
I could see you waiting to say that the whole time. I could see you like, I'm gonna say it. Johnny's favorite match, the Inferno match, which is a battle in a burning building. Contact with the fire damages the fighter. And, there's bits of flaming debris that will sometimes fall from the ceiling, which is always fun. And I feel like something that we had to deal with in Saturday Night Slam Masters. So
yes.
this is just fun. It wasn't fun. It wasn't fun at all. I didn't like it. The main venue for this is the Red Hook Tire Company, which I'm sure Taz loved. The Demolition Match, which is 2 SUVs form an arena, which... That's it. Full stop. That's it. 2 SUVs form an arena, and you can use them to damage your opponent. And obviously, as you damage, the SUVs get messed up. The match ends by totaling the opponent's car. To total the opponent's car, you have to smash them into 2 different sections. And player 1 gets a black Cadillac Escalade, and player 2 gets a silver and gray Hummer. And that may be the most dated sentence that we say in this entire thing. Because Hummer's not a thing.
No.
Hummer's not a thing anymore at all.
Closest we got is that stupid Wrangler pickup truck.
Yeah, I'm not going to talk about that at all, because that thing sucks. Johnny's second favorite match, the subway match, where you fight in a subway terminal, and at regular intervals, a train will roll past. You can be thrown or knocked off the platform and right into the path of the train, John.
Yep. Many of these played growing up.
Good God. The main venue for this is the 125th Street Station. And my favorite match, the window match.
Ooh, classic.
3 large windows line one side of the arena, and a 4-story drop awaits the person slammed through one of them. No matter which window they get smashed through, in the cutscene that follows, they could be seen smashing through the middle window. The main venue, Johnny Clash's favorite character, Crow's office.
Ooh, we'll get to who Crow is in just a little bit. Now, this match is a little nuts, but then when you read it, you're like, oh, it's only 4 stories. That's not that bad. But you're getting slammed through the damn 4 stories, so that's a nice little fall. You're not landing on your feet there. You're not tucking and rolling.
I would say, have you taken many 4-story falls in your wrestling career, Johnny Clash?
I have not. None. No. No ladder matches.
Are there plans, once the world gets back to normal, to have a window match with a 4-story fall?
No, I don't think so.
All right, well...
Now, one of the cool things here that we mentioned we liked in Revenge last week was the scoreboard. Now, this is the same thing here. After each match, you're going to see your score, your opponent's score, and then you get money. So the money could be used to buy different outfits, different fighters, different songs, and you can go into the high score section of the menu and you could see your high scores. Now, the cool thing is, without a memory card, or on the same memory card, I could plug in my name, and then I could say I'm on George's PlayStation, I type my name, Johnny Clash. Next time I come over, I'm typing back in Johnny Clash, and I got my guy's moves, I got his high scores, I got his moveset right back there. It's like an arcade game.
So, did you own this game as a kid?
I did, for Xbox.
Okay, so I did not. So that feature is definitely something that I wish that I knew about, because that sounds like something I wish that I had in so many other like wrestling and fighting games.
It's like the racing games at the arcade. You put the little dial pad in.
Yeah, that's so cool. I wish that I had that. So, do you want to talk about this story mode? This is something that we usually, yeah. So, I mean, let's just talk about the story mode. So the game picks up right where the last game left off. Follows the unknown player-created fighter who is fighting his way through the New York underground, picking up where the first game left off. And, yeah.
So it picks off. Last game we left off where you're against D-Mob. This one, D-Mob gets picked up from jail almost right away. And in a weird turn of events, you join D-Mob's crew. But at the same time, it's not really that weird because you're a different fighter than the last game. So I guess you're just in his crew? I don't know.
Yeah, there's some things that, and we'll touch on this more. There are definitely some parts of this storyline that I wish they explained better, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think
like there are definitely some parts where I was like, yeah. So, like Johnny said earlier, winning matches rewards the player with cash, which you can then use to buy all the unlockables. Now, we didn't touch on this, but there are some pretty big brands in here. You got Air Jordan's, Fat Farm. Again, it's a very dated sentence.
Very, very dated.
Reebok, and this is a way. I think this actually still exists, but I haven't heard anyone talk about it in a long time. But the Sean P. Diddy Combs line of clothing, which let me tell you something. You want to buy the most comfortable and most expensive plain white t-shirt ever, Diddy's got your back.
So wait, that's the same thing as Sean John? That was his?
No. Sean Combs is the one line. Sean John is another line. And then Sean Paul is another guy.
Okay, so Sean John is also in this game. But all I think about when I see Sean John is forgetting Sarah Marshall when she's like, there was a week where you just wore sweatpants every day. And he's like, oh, because they were Costco brand and not Sean John. Now that we're in quarantine, we literally wear like sweatpants or like gym shorts every day. So screw you, Sarah Marshall.
But I have the freshest cereal now. All right, so I feel like we have it in the notes here, but I feel like it's pretty obvious. You win your match, you advance through, you use your Blazon move, and you have full customization. You can unlock so many things: hats, sweatshirts, bling, everything.
Haircuts,
you name
tattoos.
It. You can. There's like 75 different pairs of Tims in here. Like there's a lot.
So wait, here's my favorite part of this whole game. There's a local gym where you could get like your development points run by Henry Rollins. Yes, Henry Rollins of Black Flag and Iggy Pop is in this game, and he's jacked to the gills.
Now, I was going to say, can you explain that to me?
Explain what? Exactly.
Why?
There's a lot in that sentence.
Why he's in the game?
Because he's jacked. I mean, come on. Who do you want?
That's not enough reason.
Who do you want to train you? I want Henry Rollins to train me. The guy's like in his 60s now, and he's jacked to the gills.
All right, I'll take it.
Yeah, so you increase your character's skills with Henry Rollins, or you could purchase new Blazon moves, or up to 2 additional fighting styles. So get training with the Black Flag Man.
Gotta love those fighting styles. So also by playing through, you can unlock bonus tournaments. Now, these are not like the typical other tournaments that you'll play during the story. These are more like a test of strength or endurance.
They're like gauntlet matches.
Yeah, I was just going to say, like, I feel like there's something similar where it's just like whatever health you have, you move on, and it's not like you're not getting a full health bar every time. It's just you get a little buff, and then that's really it.
So the bad part about these tournaments, not bad, but you have to do them because if you're in the middle of a tournament and you either don't save or you quit the game, you don't get to do them again. So this is a good way to get more experience points, cash, and a new Blazon moves for your character. So if you're really big on like upping your character, you really should do these bonus tournaments. But if you don't care, if you're just going to beat the game and move on, then hey, don't do them.
Now, are you I don't think we've talked about this much on the podcast. Are you like a completionist with certain games? Like, do you have to 100% like get all the unlocks and do all that kind of stuff?
Absolutely not. I want to beat the story mode, and then that's kind of it for me. Like Arkham and Spider-Man, I'm not doing any of the side missions. I really just want to play through the story, and that's it. So I don't really care about that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, my Spider-Man's like 98 or like 99.
Yeah, I have a friend who 100'd it in like a month. I don't know. He's nuts.
I hate those time trial things in Spider-Man. Okay, we're getting sidetracked. But
want me to give a general rundown of the story mode?
Yeah.
So we set all the parameters of how it works. But now it's much like the first game where you're part of D-Mob's crew. And now there's kind of an internal conflict amongst D-Mob's crew where you're the new rising star and maybe the old stars are getting a little bit jealous. Just like the first game, you can get girlfriends along the way like Lil Kim. And we'll say the rest of them when we get to the roster. So when D-Mob goes to jail in the beginning of the story mode, Crow's crew kind of takes over the streets. He's the one running all these underground fighting games, fighting whatever, these underground fights. And Crow is Snoop Dogg. And if you picture Snoop Dogg in Starsky and Hutch, that's exactly what he looks like in this game. So, he's just a prick in this game. I love Snoop Dogg. It makes you hate Snoop Dogg. But the fight culminates in a burning building where you save your girlfriend from Crow's captive. And then Crow attacks you with a knife, which leads to a window match between you and Crow. Now, you don't unlock that window match until you beat him, so.
Now, it's a slightly bigger roster than last time. Are we,
I think we should alternate.
All right. Well, hopefully this isn't as bad as a Fire Pro game, so why don't you start us off there?
Yeah. Welcome.
All right, so under Hero, we have Matt Hill as Clean Cut, Scott McNeil as Cocky, Ty D. Jones as Gruff, Doron Bell as Rough, Tyrone Jackson as Smooth, and Frank Nitti as Street.
All right. Under D-Mob's crew, we have Chris Judge as Darnell D-Mob Lewis, Method Man as Blaze, Redman as Doc, Sticky Fingers as Sticky, Capone, Comp, Eric Sermon, Flava Flav, Freeway, Ghostface Killer. Can't believe I'm saying this right now. Henry Rollins, Joe Budden, Ludacris, Memphis Bleak, Nori, Scarface, and Dub C.
All right, now Crow's crew. We have Snoop Dogg as Crow, Baby Chris, Bless, Busta Rhymes as Magic, Fat Joe as Crack. Now, my created fighter back in the day had all the Terror Squad chains. Danny Trejo is Trejo. That's a guy I would not mess with in real life. Bone Crusher, Bubba Sparks, Crazy Legs, David Banner, Elephant Man, Famlay, Havoc, Ice-T, Lil Flip, Mac 10, Omar Epps as OE, Prodigy, Sean Paul, Slick Rick, Warren G, and Exhibit. Now wait, Omar Epps. Omar Epps was in that shooter show on USA Network, wasn't he? Yeah.
All right. Under your fighters, you have Dennis DeMenace as Baxter, Adrian Holmes as Bo, Kevin Leong as Chiang. Oh, so it is like a New Japan game. Got it. All right. David Coburn as Luis De La Cruz, Django Craig as Daniel G, Keith Dallas as Anselm Jackson, Brian Hayes as Manny Gray, Crazy Ben Hayama as Masakazu Ninagawa, Eat 'em Up as Mecca, Billy Sly Williams as Andre Nine Wallace, Sean Amsing as Sharif Pockets Hayek, Ricky Deshaun Collins as Rome, Clay Raider as Santos, Ramon Franco as Skull, Sean Stevenson as Sean Snowman Scott, Tom Picklett as Stingray, Tony Austin as Tech, and Viv Leacock as Trick.
All right, I'll take the next two because that was a rough one for you. So your girlfriends can be Carmen
I
Electra,
just want to talk about the girls.
Carmen Electra, Cindy Johnson as Cindy J, Kimura, Lil Kim, Deirdre Graham as Shaniqua, and Shauna. Now, your others, you have Jacob the Jeweler, Chris Christie. Governor Chris Christie is closing all bridges for the girlfriends. Oh my god. Paul Christie as Jervis, Lauren Wurtzer as Lauren, and Todd Cummings as Starks. Now, this is a huge roster, way bigger than Vendetta. Now, my go-to always, I think, was either Ludacris or Blaze, who is Method Man. That is who I liked playing with. And, of course, the occasional Fat Joe, because Terror Squad, you know?
Okay, so Let's see. So Def Jam Vendetta has 46 players.
Okay.
And Def Jam Fight for New York has 67. That's a lot. That's a big difference.
They really
That's kind of great. You love to see that.
They really upped their budget because they have to pay all of these rappers.
Yeah. But all right, John. So we've talked about the roster. I think I'm going to take us through some venues. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. So you have Crow's Office, The Foundation, The Limit, Club 357, also High Stakes, Babylon, John's favorite restaurant, Dragon House. You have the Sin Energy Power Plant, Red Room, Club Murder, the 125th Street Station, Terror Dome, the Chop Shop, Hunts Point Scrapyard, also available in After Hours, Seventh Heaven.
When you gonna
You can't see this, but John's dancing and my singing. It made me feel real good. The Heights,
Biel.
The Pit, Jessica Biel, Red Hook Tire Company, Gauntlet, which is also available in Intense Mode, Gun Hill Garage, and the Stapleton Athletics Center.
That's the only one that actually looks like a wrestling arena, the Stapleton Athletics. It's actually a ring in there.
Oh,
But
okay.
What do you say we get into this artwork here? Because to me, no pun intended, this is a little iconic for me. This sat on my dresser for many, many years as I played this game.
All right. So the front, I don't know if is that supposed to be D-Mob? Is that you as the player?
Yeah, I
'Cause it's
originally
not
thought it was
Snoop Dogg.
D-Mob. But then I think you're right. I think it might actually be you, the player.
All right. Well, it's such a cool front cover. Like, it's very intriguing, I guess is the word. Like, it's you kind of want to know what this is. Like, it looks, I mean, for lack of a better term, it's pretty badass.
It is. And then when you get to the back, you actually see the screenshots of the actual fights. And I have to say, from Vendetta to here, the graphics in this game really took a turn. They look pretty damn good.
Yeah, and I feel like what's the word? Not environment, but like one of the matches is I think it's the electric park.
Mm-hmm.
What the hell was that called? Oh, the energy power plant. It's raining, which is like environmental effects. I don't think they had in the first one, which is a nice little a feature. Yeah, it was very cool. The graphics are way better. Now, in terms of you wanna read us these little screenshots here?
Yeah, so the back says, fight for control of hip-hop's underworld. Hard-hitting with 5 fighting styles. Anything goes. Bats, bottles, pipes, and more. Watch your back. Crowds get into the action. Oh, that's something we didn't talk about. A crowd could actually hold your arms, and you could punch them. George hated that. Now, own the streets with your creative fighter and featuring more than 40 hip-hop stars, and as we read, it's actually almost 70, including the people that aren't actual hip-hop stars.
Yeah, this is it's pretty great. And then, of course, on the back, you have that wonderful, beautiful AKI logo. And, of course, the Def Jam Records logo.
Now, wait. This was rated M for mature for blood, sexual themes, strong language, and violence. George, you're a Netflix watcher, right?
Yeah.
Have you noticed the past year, I guess, they now put smoking as one of the things in their ratings?
I never read those.
Okay, so I want to say it was when I was watching Dexter I noticed it, because it was 8 seasons. Sorry, shout out to Justin Summers, Dexter for life. It actually says smoking in the top left as one of the things to like look out for, I guess, in the ratings. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
It's very,
look for it next time.
So usually this is the part where we hop into some fast facts, but for year 2, we thought that we would change it to something a little more branded, I guess. Something that's a little more, I don't know. The segment's now called Did You Know? Because it's a good chance you didn't know this before you heard it here. So, did you know, John?
Did you know there are features exclusive to PS2 and Xbox that are missing from the GameCube version? The player is restricted to having one voice for the main character as opposed to the 6 in the other versions. 8 of the 28 available music tracks are missing also in the GameCube version, and certain 3 or 4 player arenas have reduced crowds due to the mini-disc space limitations.
Did you know Def Jam Fight for New York, The Takeover, came out in 2006 for the PSP? The game is a port of Def Jam Fight for New York, and in addition to nearly all of the features seen in the original game, The Takeover includes new dirty moves, 4 new venues, 68 playable characters with a prequel story to Def Jam Vendetta.
Ooh, did you know? One of the Blazon themes, titled Blazon 10, is a sampled mix of Get Low by Lil Jon and the Eastside Boys featuring Yin Yang Twins. The song is also featured in the soundtrack for the sequel, Def Jam Icon, in 2007.
And the final, did you know? This game, based on the condition, ranges on eBay, get this, between $50 and $125.
Oh, I wish I kept my game from 2007 itself, and I would have been able to sell it for $125 now.
Yeah, that'd be a nice, pretty little penny in your pocket there, bud.
Now, another thing, the PSP version, the Takeover, we are not covering on this episode because it has a different story mode. It's a little bit of a different game. I think we have to consider it a different game for when the time comes.
Yeah, I'm ready.
So that means we have 2 more Def Jam games. We have Def Jam Icon, the sequel to this, and then we could play Def Jam Fight for New York, The Takeover. Now, George. Now, last week, Def Jam on Twitter. This was after we even said we were playing this game, which is crazy because the timing was impeccable. They posted a screenshot of Vendetta with Ludacris vs. DMX saying, the little face. The streets saying we need a new Def Jam game, and then they replied to their own tweet saying, once our Twitter hits 1 million, we have a special announcement for y'all with an emoji of a game controller. Now, they did hit 1 million, but I have not seen an announcement yet, and I haven't heard an announcement yet. So maybe in the time between we record this and when this actually drops, we'll get an announcement saying, maybe a new Def Jam game's coming.
Very, very exciting stuff. Now, my concern, if they announce the game, if it's not already in development, probably going to take a year, so maybe longer. So I would say maybe to expect an announcement this year. Development starts end of this year into next year. And then I would say release date maybe 2022.
Is this a Scott Steiner promo? What is this?
I'm trying to see. You know what, John?
Welcome to year 2.
You know what, John?
You're a little tense right now. You're a little tense right now.
I'm very tense. There's a lot of pressure. It's year 2, John. It's year 2. A lot of pressure. I think Goose Fraba. I think I need you to take me for a little R&R. Give me those ratings and reviews.
EGM gives this game an 8.67 out of 10 for the GameCube, PS2, and Xbox. Eurogamer gives a 6 out of 10 for Xbox. Famitsu gives the PS2 version a 31 out of 40. Game Informer with an 8.75 across the board. GamePro gives it a 4 out of 5 stars. Game Revolution with a B. GameSpot with an 8.7. GameSpy with a 4 out of 5. GameZone with a 9 out of 10. IGN 8.7 out of 10. Nintendo Power only with the GameCube version with a 3.8 out of 5. OPM US gives the PS2 version a 4.5 out of 5 stars. OXM, the US version, gives it an 8.4 out of 10 for the Xbox. Maxim Magazine gives it an 8 out of 10 across the board, and the Sydney Morning Herald gives it a 4 out of 5 stars. Now, our favorite, Metacritic gives an 84 out of 100 for all except the PS2 version, which is an 83 out of 100. Now, there's something in there they just didn't like about the PS2 version. Now, this game also received the best fighting game at E3 in 2004. Honestly, really, really good ratings.
I think that may be the most ratings that we've ever had for a game.
Right, and probably the best we've had for a game across the board. I think it's kind of odd, but at the same time, it speaks volumes for the game itself that even though we said there was a lack in the GameCube mini-disc version, the ratings were pretty on par with the PS and the Xbox version. So
yeah,
just shows how good the game is. Yeah,
I'm a little upset there's no IMDb because there's voice acting. But hey, you know what? Beggars can't be choosers. John.
George.
This is year 2. And I think it's time we do the first Clash at the Feast for year 2.
What's up, Game Marks Podcast? This is Danny Tancredi, and I'm here with my brother Johnny Tancredi, and together we are the Cult Looking Podcast. Each week we bring to you the latest news and reviews on all things baseball collectibles. From baseball cards and memorabilia to bobbleheads and stadium giveaways, each episode will discuss the newest products to hit the shelves of your local card store and your favorite ballparks around the country. Be sure to be following us on Instagram at the Cult Looking Podcast and on Twitter at CultLookingBB. New episodes drop every Friday, so be sure to tune in wherever great podcasts like this one are available. The Cult Looking Podcast. Don't get caught looking, start collecting.
Ooh, that's some new music there. Who made that music for us, George? Why don't you let us know?
So the new Clash at the Feast music is done by the same person who's literally done all of the music with the exception of that wonderful outro done by Max Caster. Oddly enough, the person who did all the other music for the podcast, his name is also Max. So you can find Max on all forms of social media at KAXMLEIN.
Caxmline.
And Caxmline. So Max is a very, very good buddy of mine and just very talented musician. Very happy to have him involved in the pod, and also a massive video game fan. So glad that he was able to lend his services to the audio for this podcast. And thank you very much for that new Clash at the Feast music, Johnny. Set me up.
All right, so we have new rules for this year's Clash at the Feast. So rather than taking each game and considering a point, we're going to consider the month. So we are in August. Unfortunately, it's at this point half a month. But at the end of the podcast, it's also going to be a half a month of August. So we could tack it on to this. So the month as a whole is 1 point. If George wins 3 games a month, George gets the point for that month. If it's 2 and 2, we'll have a tiebreaker. So at the end of the year, it's going to be a best of 12, technically.
And, we're hoping that this method or this new style, one, adds a little bit more competition because it's not necessarily a one and done. If I win 2 or John wins 2, there's still a fighting chance for someone to come back and do it. And it's not even, it's not as much of a wash. It's not so much of a one and done. And hopefully Johnny won't be so angry every week.
Okay, no, but this week I'm angry. George, you've never played this game before. I was the biggest fan of this game growing up. I smoked you so bad in the 2 exhibitions we had before this. So we get to the actual Clash at the Feast. We usually play a few warm-up games, and then we get into the Clash at the Feast. I picked my guy Ludacris, who I won with before. George picks Big Bad Danny Trejo. It comes down, we literally both have no health. He slams me into the wall, kicks my teeth in, and KO. That's it.
Oh, no. You're leaving out one massive part of this. You're putting it nicely. You dominated the first. So this was maybe a 25-minute match. You dominated, absolutely dominated for 20 minutes. I was hitting moves here and there, but it was definitely in your favor. And then something happened, and I just switched on, and yeah.
So George is just really lucky at video games. That's all I'm going to say.
All right. Well, now John has his catchphrase for season 2, but that means that your week 1 winner of year 2 is the reigning defending champion of Clash at the Feast year 1, Mr. Play It Forever himself, George Feast. Play my new music. Very, very excited about that.
I'm not excited. I'm not excited. Like I said, the new catchphrase for season 2 of Clash at the Feast is "Revenge is just too sweet." This is only week 1. There's another week in August left, and then hopefully we go to a tiebreaker, and September will be mine, and October will be mine, and so on and so on.
John, I want you to kudos. That was 5-star promo. I was just talking about my music that played. I was super excited and amped up about my music that played because that's my band and that's me playing drums in that song. So that's what I was excited about. I didn't want to cut you off because you were super hot and you were like, I don't want to cut you off because you were like, but I was just talking about the music.
Oh, cool, George.
I appreciate your passion.
Cool. I understand too, but I think after that it's time to rate the games.
The game!
All right, Johnny. Def Jam, Fight for New York. Just cut a very hot take on me, and I want you to keep that passion, keep that fire going. What are you rating Def Jam, Fight for New York? Will you play it forever? Woo! Or future endeavor?
You're fired!
This game is a staple of my childhood. And I sometimes don't like playing those like WWF Raw because it could come back to bite you. But this game is a solid play it forever.
Woo! Oh, all right.
What about you, Georgie?
Can't say that I'm surprised by your answer. I'm torn. See, like the game, I love the roster, but I feel like the controls, I much more enjoyed the controls of Vendetta.
Of course you did. You knew them. That's why.
I think that's, yeah. But it wasn't bad. Oh boy. This is like a fine line. Like, all right. I'm going to play it forever. Woo! The story mode is what saved this.
Great story mode.
It was awesome. The story mode is really what saved this. I had a blast playing through it. So for that, I will be playing it forever.
And you know what the cool part is with that is you can go back and you can replay the story mode and make a different character.
It's true. That is very true.
So there is replay value in this game and the story mode. So I think that's why I played it so much.
All right. Well, so I think that this was a great way to start year 2 of the Game Marks podcast. But I'm kind of excited to tell you what we're playing next week.
Tell me.
So a little birdie said that we've played this game, but we've never actually played the game, if that makes sense. So it's a game that we played on a live stream, but it's not a game that we've covered here. So that's why next week we will be playing... actually, I'm going to put it to you this way. Next week, we're going to be getting extreme. Ooh. When we play ECW Hardcore Revolution.
Oh, yes. Let's get extreme, Georgie. We played this on our live stream. I think it was Gameboree we played this. But
I believe so.
Or Game Marks Mania we played this when we were trying to raise some money for St. Jude's. And I'm ready to whip out my kendo stick and make you say, "May I have some more?"
I don't know how you managed to start a sentence that sounded dirty then say something to make it worse, and then the part where you would normally circle around to redeem it, you then made it even worse.
Well,
I'm actually impressed by your ability to do that. So my hat goes off to you. I'm at a loss for. I don't know how you did that. I'm shocked.
I don't know, but I'm ready for next week, Georgie. What do you say? We take it home.
All right. That is going to do it for the first episode of year 2 of the Game Marks podcast. Please check out our Pro Wrestling Tees store at prowrestlingtees.com/GameMarksPod. It's currently the best way besides listening to support the podcast, and be sure to follow us on all forms of social media at GameMarksPod. Leave us a rating and a review on Apple Podcasts, and subscribe to wherever great podcasts can be found. And, don't forget, Game Marks Pod 1 year anniversary merchandise still available. And, thanks for hanging out with us. Thanks for listening to the first episode of year 2. I can't wait to kick Johnny's ass the entire year. And with that, send it over to John so he can tell everybody goodbye.
Game over, Marks.
Game Marks Podcast, put them on the radar. Playing rare games, Sega Saturn, no Game Shark. Johnny and George work hard and they play hard. Future endeavor games and put them in the graveyard. From the deep dive to the clash at the feast. How can I get more? That's question of the week. Follow on Twitch, there's nothing that they won't play. Game Marks Podcast every single Monday.